Welcome to This Week in Guns. Our bandwidth sponsor today is Stealth Gear USA, stealthgearusa.com. This show is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network, Patriot Patch Company, and JWB Military and Brass. This is a podcast that covers the latest commentary on the firearms industry news, information, and buzz. Brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. I'm your host, Jake Challen, and you make this show possible. That's right. You simply click through our Amazon affiliate link the next time you're shopping online, and a small portion of your sale goes to supporting pro-gun shows like This Week in Guns. You can also pledge your support by pledging as little as $5 per month over at firearmsradio.tv/pledge. Click This Week in Guns, and then click the level that you want to pledge your support. Great panel this week. We have Adam Kraut, returning from the Firearms Industry Consulting Group, a division of Prince Law Offices PC. Hey, Adam.
Hey, Jake.
Nate Mert, Director of Business Development over at Connect Development Group. Hey, Nate.
Hey, Jake. How are you?
Are you wearing a Beastie Boys t-shirt?
Yes. This is vintage. I stole this t-shirt from Peter Anthony Palma III like 5 years ago, and it's still mine.
Very cool. Baraka James, Chairman and President of the MASF, Modern American Shootings and Firearms. And how you doing, Baraka?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I was going to keep going, and Baraka's Instagram can be found at. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual co-hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network or their employers. Your discretion is advised, especially on live shows. Patriot Patch Company helps make this episode possible. Just tonight, had a late drop-off, and we got some new patches in, hot off the presses. Have the Luke 2236 patch in stock now. Had a ton of these pre-ordered. This might have been one of the number one pre-orders we've had to date, except for the Patch of the Month Club. Also have better luck next time you tried.
I like that one.
That's awesome.
You know you need one of these so you can slap it on your friend when you beat him at the range. Or
There you go.
You know, or slap it on him at work or something.
Or if he's in the Navy and you beat him in the bump.
Trophy one.
Okay, leave the Navy guys alone. Also have the 1911 cleaning mat here in stock at patriotpatch.co. So this is a smaller pistol size mat.
That's pretty cool. I like that. I like the schematic on it.
Yep. Original to Patriot Patch Company, designed by in-house by Ryan Cross.
Oh, just so you know, everybody's been dying over this patch, Jake. They've all love it. Like every time any of us post this, we get a million responses.
Yeah, everybody wants to know where they can get one. So let me ask you this. If you join Patriot Patch Company Patch of the Month Club this month, will you get that patch still or no?
No, too late.
Oh, they missed it.
Sold out. They're all gone.
Oh, are they? Oh, wow. Dude.
So, yeah, people have been asking how the shipping works for Patch of the Month Club. So everyone's patches and stickers and everything, they're all mass produced at the same time, and so they're all also batch processed and shipped at the same time. So everyone gets their order around the same time, you know, depending on how long shipping takes, but they all go out the door the same day. And so that's generally around the middle of the month. We say like the 19th, but we have been shipping them much sooner than the 19th, but to be safe, we say the 19th. So yeah, if you subscribe now, you're going to be getting the January patch of the month, which we just posted up on the website, and it's a New Year's resolution special patch, where it's an ammo can that has a note scribbled on the side of your list of New Year's resolutions. It says, buy more guns, shoot more ammo, eat more bacon, and then it's got a blank for you to fill in your own resolution.
Awesome.
Sharpie. So
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Check that out, patriotpatch.co. And enrollment for this is a limited time because we have to know how many that you're going to have to run for for that month. So there's going to be a limited amount of enrollment time here for the next.
So you don't ever
2
have
weeks.
ever have extras.
Never
Right.
have extras.
Oh,
Okay.
I
See,
didn't know that.
I would have thought you would have put away for a vault, like an extra
Yeah,
here
me too.
there for future
No, limited
sweepstakes
run
purposes.
exclusive. We do always have a little bit extra of the stickers, because the stickers, you have to run stickers in like pretty big chunks of like quantities when you jump from one quantity to the next. So stickers generally will have extra stickers, but the patches, they come out to the exact amount. And
Oh man, I'm gonna keep these going together and eventually hold like an auction benefit.
well, there's a bunch of people looking for the Santa Claus Silent Night.
I've got it.
But wait, there's more. For the next person to join the Patch of the Month Club, you will receive Baraka's complete patch collection.
Dude, let me tell you something. Some of these patches are ridiculous. Like this one from Christine's son is worth $200, dude, all day long. Some people have paid up to $300. I know. It's called
it's a head of lettuce.
It's a Cabbage Patch Kid. Ask Christine's son from Battle Comp about this patch she gave me, dude. Yeah.
Mike, can I have a patch so I can put my kid through college? Like, I remember one of those patch like forums on Facebook for some reason, because I don't think I've ever bought a patch in my life, but like people go nuts over these patches.
Yes, they do. That's what I was saying. That's where I found out. And this BCM one right here that I got at the Bravo Company party last year in SHOT Show, Paul Buffoni only had 250 made, and I have this one, and I have one up there that's in plastic for trading.
It's like being a little kid again with baseball cards.
It is, dude. That's awesome.
So don't miss out, because like you said, there's a bunch of people looking for the Santa patch, and if
they want it
for January now, you may miss out. But if you already subscribed, you're good. You're good to go. It auto renews every month, so you're good to go if you're already subscribed. But yeah, if you want to get some of these new future patches, go to patriotpatch.co and click Patch of the Month Club. Top stories this week. Let's start with some positive news. Florida introduces an open carry bill. So Florida was a state to lead them all for concealed carry back in the 80s, and they're just now possibly getting around to passing.
But hold on, listen to this one. Like, so Florida's ban on open carry was fairly recent, going back to 1987, when former state attorney Janet Reno became incensed the adoption of Florida's incredibly successful shall issue concealed carry law, right? So Reno successfully lobbied for special session which banned the open carry of firearms. So that's been like that since 1987. So hold on a second. So Janet Reno, if you're down there and you can hear me, we reversed it. You hear that?
Oh, but she did so many positive things, like send little Cubans back to their homes,
at gunpoint.
Yeah.
At gunpoint.
No less.
Yeah, exactly. At gunpoint.
Children. Yeah. So
I mean, it's definitely good news. I'm happy to see it. I'm not a big fan of open carry personally, but I'm not gonna lie, I open carry around my property and sometimes in the woods when I'm hiking and stuff. But the thing is, it's such a ridiculous thing that they had it forever and a day. In 1987, it went away because somebody got angry that they're promoting CCW for their citizens. So
Right.
it's like it's like a petty thing to do.
Yeah, but a lot of
Hear that down there, Janet Reno? It was petty.
A lot of gun legislation is, as you know. I mean, I always open carry when I hunt, and that's the only time you'll catch me open carrying. Not because I don't. A lot of people, the open carrier big argument always is, well, we have to make people aware of our rights, but at the same time, don't be a dick. Be considerate. And I mean, don't be a dick. Don't be a Richard. So you don't have to, timestamp that. But the thing is being considerate to other people. Yes, it's your right, but at the same time, you don't need to go around and publicly brandish. I don't know. That's my take on it.
Like anything else in life, there's a time and a place.
Right.
But like the thing I always looked at was like when I was young and I first started carrying, I was always concerned that I was, if I bent over in a grocery store and my gun popped out, I guess back then I carried on the hip. And some concerned citizen calls like, "Oh, there's a guy with a gun," right?
Or maybe
I'm like,
guy
no,
comes behind and rams you. I'm sorry.
Well, like no, I'm just saying like no, sweet, like yeah, I have my CCW, but I decided I wanted to open carry now, so I switched to open carry mode because I'm allowed to do that in my state. I mean, I looked at it as like a good thing in that way because to me it'd be ridiculous for somebody to get arrested over a pistol and a holster on a belt when you're a law-abiding citizen.
And it's funny you should mention that, Nate, because it actually happened in Texas before they had that open carry thing. If you printed, they could arrest you, and it happened to quite a few people from printing. So,
which was so bizarre for a state like Texas, where like you move there and they like give you a gun practically. It's such a gun-friendly state, and it was such an arbitrary law that for guys to get busted over.
I'm with you, man.
Gun control advocate Chaka Fata, is that how you say his
Shaka
name?
Zulu? What?
Shaka Zulu.
That was in the 80s. Yeah, I remember that movie.
He gets 10 years for racketeering. This is a former 11-term Pennsylvania congressman.
Good.
Long-term advocate for gun regulation.
Corrupt.
He was sentenced Monday on a host of bribery charges.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Crooked politician.
The weird thing about this, like this year, it seems like a lot of politicians have been arrested for like just like bad business and bribery and all manner of things, right? And it's like every time like I hear about like some representative or somebody like going down, I always want to know if it's a Republican or a Democrat, right? And it's like 9 times out of 10 a Democrat, and it's usually something that turns out to be something that I don't like anyway. So
hear this quote that he blurted out in one of his anti-gun raves back in February of 2013. The NRA may love their guns, but the country loves its children more. Yeah, there you go.
Which is why we have our guns, to protect our children.
Exactly.
Okay. Good argument there, dude.
Exactly. Makes no sense.
Maybe your cellmate will like it.
Gun control movie flops hard.
Belongs in the trash can.
Did you guys see the preview for that movie? I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous.
They were promoting it crazy heavy.
Oh my God.
It was all over Facebook, promoted to the gun community.
I know.
It was so like they kept like doing promotions on Facebook. I'm like, do these people not know me? Do they not like how the whole algorithm, right? But then every time I see it, I would click on it to read the comments because it'd be like 35,000 comments, right? I'm like, this is going to be comedy gold. And it would be like just like thousands of comments from pro-gun people against this movie. But here's the thing that makes me upset about this, because it has that hot redheaded chick from Zero Dark 30, and what was the other movie? The Martian, right?
Yeah.
So I like this actress, mostly because she's hot, and I think she's a good actress. But
and she has redhead, yeah.
Like whoever
just
like
watch it, rent it later, and watch it without the sound, and you can
Wow.
That's the thing. It broke my heart. It broke my heart that she like fell for this role, right? But like, there's a lot of like interesting conspiracy theories about this, about how like so many people were so positive that Hillary was going to get elected, right? So for this movie to come out immediately after Hillary Clinton just took her presidency, it's like kind of like prime in the field a little bit, like prep in the field.
Oh, you mean like Hillary buying all those fireworks that they never used, and the cover of that magazine that said Miss Madam President? Yeah, all that great stuff.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff, right? But so it's like, I think like people thought it was going to be received better.
Oh, yeah.
If that movie, like, if it would have been released in the summertime or something like that, like right at the height of the election, like gearing up for the election, it would have just been a train wreck. It would have been really, really, really bad. And I think they purposely held off to after the election, but I think they were counting on Hillary getting elected, so this movie would be a little bit better received. And instead, it's just like crashing and burning, which hopefully, I'm not gonna lie, I want to see the movie to see just how many falsehoods and lies are in it, but at the same time, I don't want to give Hollywood my money in support of a film that goes against what I believe in. So I'm not. It's like weird point, which should I see it or should I not see it? I'm not going to see it in theater, but still.
The worst part of the preview is when the pro-gun guy takes his hand and makes it in the shape of a gun and acts like he's shooting the lady. Like anyone in high up in politics would do that in front of a bunch of reporters and say, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely like.
So 3 months from now, when the DVDs and that giant bin of DVDs at Walmart for $1, that's when I'll buy it and watch it.
There you go. That sounds like a plan. New York pistol permit holders face recertification logjam. So about 2 million pistol permit holders in New York have to get a new 5-year permit here coming up in 2017, but the state police still haven't disclosed how that's going to happen.
Well, because Mr. Trump is in New York and taking office soon and cleaning house, I think that maybe that place will become unjammed, because it seems like every issue that's brought to the forefront, he like snaps, dude, and snaps his fingers and has it addressed. I really have confidence that that will be rectified swiftly. I really do.
It has nothing to do with the federal government, though, so I don't. And everybody seems to forget how a bill becomes a law.
I'm talking about the logjam of them intentionally not processing and pushing back people's paperwork and not those things that have been happening.
But again, it's the state government. He has no say in it.
You can put pressure in the right places, Adam. I mean, come on, it's done all the time.
Maybe federal funding.
That's probably why he had Kane West up to the tower. He's going to send him and put some pressure on people.
No, he just wants to try to relate to the hip hop crowd, that he's hip and cool, and try to a little diplomacy. That was his move there with the athletes and the rap star, was to try to make himself, and he's smart.
So was that confirmed with Kane West or whatever?
Yeah, I saw pictures.
No, I saw like a nonsense article that was said unconfirmed, but is it confirmed that like Trump was honestly going to bring him one, or is going to?
Oh, as far as that goes, I don't think so.
No, I don't think he was planning on bringing Kanye West into any kind of official position. But what I think that he was doing is, again, trying to establish some kind of diplomacy by bringing athletes that are loved and cherished all across the board. He is loved and cherished by the pop generation of all these kids, and and he's just trying to reach out and be more embracing. I think that was his way.
What did somebody say that like he's the Gary Busey of the music world?
Gary Busey. Gary Busey.
Ninth Circuit Court ignores logic, upholds California 10-day waiting period.
Yeah, that was a good one. Where do they have any of the quotes in there? Because there were I saw an article on it the other day, and it had a couple of quotes that I just couldn't believe that court was saying this nonsense. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
So what? The California people have like 15 days left to get an AR-15, huh?
Yeah, or a scar. Have you seen how much scars are going for?
No, what are they?
Dude, I tell you what, like we've been selling, like we sell AR-15s to all of our distributors, and we have some distributors in California, and a huge uptick in AR-15 receivers this month going to California. It's like so many people just trying to get it at the last minute.
Billet ones, right? Not forgings.
Yeah, just billet. I mean, we're out of stock with a forge, but I mean, our billet one's pretty sweet. So
I don't doubt that. Just want to make sure you didn't get any more forged in.
No, that's gonna be a while yet. We're still playing the slinky catch-up game right now with forgings.
So the Ninth Circuit held that the 10-day waiting period is a reasonable safety precaution for all purchasers of firearms. Applying intermediate scrutiny analysis, we hold that the law does not violate the Second Amendment rights of these plaintiffs because the 10-day wait is a reasonable precaution for the purchase of a second or third weapon, as well as for a first purchase, the majority opinion states.
Majority.
It's all about safety.
And the intermediate scrutiny analysis requires the state that the state prove the law promotes a substantial government interest that would be achieved less effectively absent the regulation. The Ninth Circuit also found that there's nothing new in having to wait for the delivery of a weapon because before the age of superstores and superhighways, most folks could not expect to take possession of a firearm immediately upon deciding to purchase one, and therefore they decided that the 10-day waiting period was not a substantial burden in one's Second Amendment rights. What else did they say here? There was another good quote.
Obviously, these people don't have Amazon Prime or used to get stuff
instant gratification. I was gonna say.
So the Ninth Circuit also apparently the lower court they took issue with the lower court's determination that the cooling off period could not be justified as an effective crime deterrent when applied to those who already owned guns. The Ninth Circuit rejected that reasoning, writing, "The district court's assumption is not warranted. An individual who already owns a hunting rifle, for example, may want to purchase a larger capacity weapon that will do more damage when fired into a crowd." This is actually a quote.
Wow.
A 10-day cooling off period would serve to discourage such conduct and would impose no serious burden on the core Second Amendment right of defense of the home identified in Heller.
That sounds like fiction. Where do these guys get this from?
I just found some late breaking
my
audio. This is actually comes from a case. This gentleman trying to buy a gun at a gun store is why this was all implemented. Here, let's listen in.
Whoa, careful there, Annie Oakley.
I don't have to be careful. I got a gun.
Well, you'll probably want the accessory kit, holster,
Oh, yeah.
bandolier,
Baby.
silencer,
Loudner.
speed cocker,
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
and this is for shooting down police helicopters.
Oh, I don't need anything like that. Yet. Just give me my gun.
Sorry, the law requires a 5-day waiting period. We've got to run a background check.
5 days, but I'm mad now.
Cooling period, cool down period, 10 days. Awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Well, like I'm going to use this as an opportunity to once again quote the incident of the Happy Land nightclub massacre, where that dude killed like 80-some people with 1 gallon of gasoline in New York City because he couldn't get a gun.
Yep.
Obama sends UN arms trade treaty to Senate, but doesn't look like anything. It's going anywhere at this point because it has to get 2/3 majority. And so far, at least 50 senators have gone on record saying that they will not sign it.
Well, that's half the Senate if 50 of them are saying that.
Yeah, that's half the Senate. And this is something, we got a bunch of emails about this, all this last year, and it's just not going anywhere. So
they need to give it up. Seriously.
Why is it? Here's another question. Why is it like all the politicians I hate are really old politicians? No, like John Kerry, right? And then like the Clintons, for example, they're old as dirt. And what's the one at Dianne Feinstein? I absolutely.
She's 80. What is she? 86, dude.
She's old.
You hear that, Janet? You're gonna be getting a roommate soon.
Yep, Feinstein.
But like that's the thing. Is like it's all these like really like it seems like the most hardcore anti-gun people are some of the oldest.
Oh yeah, what's the Supreme Court justice that spoke out against Trump, who's 86? Oh, that old lady. What's her name?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, she's 86. You're right, Nate.
Well, it's a lot of these old. They were.
But they're also like the people driving like the movement or their movement is what I mean to say. So what I'm saying is like when all these old people, like all these old anti-gunners die, who's going to take their place for
There'll be others.
Yeah, but I'm saying why aren't they emerging now? Why aren't we like learning their names now? That's what I mean to say, because like most of these people are going to be dead in the next 10 years. A lot of them are going to be dead by the time the next 8 years are up. So I don't know. Like I keep looking at it I'm an optimistic person. I want to see the right people die. So like all these people that are fighting so adamantly against the Second Amendment, most of them are really old, decrepit people. So
no, the up and coming ones, we've seen a lot of footage and photos of them. They're holding those long cylindrical. I don't know what they are. These things are holding, and they got signs that are called.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Are they phallic shaped?
Yeah, it kind of are.
Timestamp phallic.
It rhymes with Glock, and instead of using a Glock, they want you to use something a Navy guy sticks in another Navy guy's back.
I don't understand all this Navy guy hate tonight. I'm not going to tolerate it.
Well, because you brought it up earlier, so I'm just helping. I'm just adding on to that. That was just
that was a joke behind closed doors, not for the average listener.
Behind closed doors is weird. What do Navy guys do? I'm sorry.
Oh man!
Well, after reading a bunch of comments about Marines eating crayons this week. So what I'm saying though is like to keep it on track though. It's like I know I'm kind of deviating from what we're talking about, but like this UN arms treaty nonsense, like this has been troubling me for a while. Like this has been going on for a couple of years now, Adam, right?
Yeah.
So like I mean, like sorry Barry, but you should have tried a little bit harder a little bit sooner. It's like too late at this point, right? So I don't know. It's just like I'm optimistic for the future, and it's not so much because of Trump. It's so much about seeing the American people rise up and say, you know what, for the last 8 years I've been told that I'm a bad guy and I'm a felon because I crossed an imaginary line and all this other stuff, right? These really good people that are angry and upset, and I think we're going to see a lot of really positive change. And I know Adam's kind of the cynic right now with a lot of aspects of like how fast things change, how much progress can actually be made in the next 4 years. But I'm extremely optimistic, and a big part of that, I'm not gonna lie, is a lot the watch a lot of these people step down from the helm, and new people that we support take those positions.
Well, let's be honest here. Adam wouldn't call himself a cynic. He called himself a realist. And the second thing is that you're probably more optimistic because hoorah, 3 Marine Corps generals are taking some of the helm.
Yeah, but see, I pride myself as a person driven by reason and logic, and I'm definitely a cynic. So, you know, that's why I'm saying, like,
Mad Dog Mattis does not approve of that comment.
Oh, okay, Brock. I'm just saying, like, as a person that is just naturally cynical, I don't know why, but I'm optimistic for the future. And
I am too.
It's a rare feeling for me to be optimistic. So I'm trying to keep that ball rolling.
I'm very optimistic because I think Trump will follow through and make the correct Supreme Court picks. Knock on wood.
So do I.
And he's also making so many other positive picks for putting people in power, and I'm hoping that, you know, these major government agencies start to clear house once he puts the right people in the top positions of some of these.
Well, that's kind of like with
these bureaucrats out of there.
Everybody I know that works in a federal law enforcement agency is pro Second Amendment and pro gun. Like every guy I know. So that's guys in the FBI, DEA, the ATF even. I know ATF guys that are gun guys. They're collectors and shooters just like us, right? So I'm like, for me personally, I can't understand how you could work for the ATF and hate guns. You know, like the majority of agents I met from the ATF, they're doing their job. They're following the law of the land. That's what they're supposed to do, like any law enforcement officer. A lot of them don't agree with some of the laws or all the laws, but they can't speak out about that because there's repercussions to it. So I'm looking at, like, I know what you're saying, Jake, with that, like the Supreme Court picks, that's going to outlive the Trump presidency. That's such a huge deal. Yeah. That's not just 4 years or 8 years. That could be a very, very long time depending on the age of who gets picked. But I don't know. It's a good
decisions that court makes can outlive us.
Oh yeah, far, far into the future. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg already hates Donald Trump. She spoke out. Remember, she was unprecedented because her, as a current seated Supreme Court justice, spoke out against an incoming, potentially incumbent president, and which was unethical, uncalled for, and ridiculous. So I'm with you. She's 86 years old. She's not going to be hanging out there very much longer.
She'll be discussing it with Janet Reno in like 5 years. So
I just hope it's not like on Futurama and they figure out how to put their
Lord, yeah, her and Dianne Feinstein and they can all hang out together.
Blaze researcher and hot water for fighting ISIS. So this guy that was a correspondent for the Blaze apparently was out doing some stories in the field and popped a few rounds off in the direction of ISIS and is now getting in trouble for it.
So this guy, Jason Budrill, was a Marine veteran. So he was in Iraq and he shot some rounds out of a SVD Dragunov sniper rifle at some ISIS fighters. And I'm guessing, there's pictures.
Yep,
there's probably video somewhere.
There's pictures.
So, like, don't get me wrong. Like, dudes ask me about it. Like, hey, man, I want to go fight with Peshmerga. I want to go fight ISIS. I'm like, listen, if I could take 2 weeks of vacation and get in an aircraft and fly over to Iraq and go back to killing Hajis for like 2 weeks and come back and not worry about going to federal prison for the rest of my life or being denied entry back into America, I'd be the first guy to go do that.
You're a genius. That's how we defeat ISIS. We make it a destination vacation.
If you privatize that,
shoot ISIS.
Look at how much money people spend to go on safari in Africa. Are you kidding me?
Fun.
Privatize it. Eric Prince already said that, hey, just don't put me out. Don't go after me for prosecution. I'm telling you, I'm hopeful that when Trump comes, he'll pardon Eric Prince and he'll go over there and do what he said. He said, I will do it for free. This one's on me, guys. I'll go wipe out ISIS for you. And I'm still hopeful that will happen, that Trump will pardon him and Eric Prince will come back up from Dubai. say bye to Obama, his neighbor, and then come right up here and wipe out ISIS for us. So
Sorry to interrupt, Nate. Hey, Atlas got a shout out on Facebook.
Everybody loves this dog more than they love me. That's been very, very apparent.
Atlas is awesome. He's a strong dog, dude. I mean, when I was at
He's
your
a
house,
strong, independent dog. Don't need no owner.
He ran by me and almost knocked me over. I'm 6 foot 250, man. I mean, he's a strong dog, dude.
So anyway, like this whole thing is like this guy's in trouble because he became a combatant. A civilian becomes a combatant in a war zone. It's frowned upon by our State Department. So anyway, if you're going to go do this, if you're going to go do what this gentleman did, which I'm 100% in support of, just don't post pictures on social media if you're doing it.
It's all how you word it.
It says
even, and you're like, here I am sighting in a rifle. Oh,
okay.
I didn't know that ISIS was behind the range.
Well, look what he did. He posted it on Twitter. He said, major bucket list completed. Shoot at ISIS, check. And he got like 151 retweets and 408 favorites. And then he even said, I got off 6 shots on ISIS. They look like ants in that scope, but my USMC PMI primary marksman instructor was exceptional, he wrote.
This guy was a pogue, wasn't he? That's something a
He was
pogue
an
would say.
intelligence specialist. It says right
Called
there.
it!
It says it in the article. Does anybody read anymore?
I actually read that article. I'm not gonna lie.
I read it.
Whatever. The guy is a Marine. He went over. He did some good work over there. Whatever. I agree with what he's doing, but I'm just saying, for those of you interested in doing the same kind of thing, do not make it public that you're doing it, because you can get in some serious trouble with the federal government.
Oh yeah, dude.
Noted.
I say no. I'm just saying be careful.
We still need to legalize it, make it a destination vacation. Disney, shoot ISIS. Disney, Disney can headline it.
You'd be like, hey, Namer, do you want to go back to Iraq and fight ISIS, or go to the actual, for real Jurassic Park? I'm like, I want to go to Iraq again because I am terrified of velociraptors. Did you not see the movie? Do you not know what happens?
They gang up on you, dude. Teamwork, man. Divide and conquer.
Didn't you hear the next Jurassic Park is set in Iraq?
I would sooner fight 50 ISIS than 50 velociraptors.
We should just send them 50 velociraptors over there to wipe out ISIS.
I'm not sure that's really comparable.
I'm just saying velociraptors are smart.
And terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Silencer Crow lays off entire SWR team.
That was a surprising move on Silencer Co. because, I mean, they're already in the news. Because what did Trump just pick the vice president of Silencer Co. for? What did he just pick him for? It was in the news this week.
Second Amendment advisor, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's what it was. Yep.
So the SWR, Silencer Crow's research division, believed it was based in Texas. Austin,
yes.
If I'm right. Yeah, Austin, Texas. And apparently they shut the whole unit down and didn't relocate anyone to where are they based out of? Utah?
Salt Lake City, or right outside of Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, like I know a fair number of people at Silencer Co. And like when they launched the Radius rangefinder, which I think is one of the best rangefinders on the market because it's weapon mountable, that was like their big thing. So like when I went to their product release party a year ago, that was the only product I actually got excited about. I'm like, yeah, it's cool, the Maxim 9 and like the miniature like 22 Osprey and stuff. But that laser rangefinder for the price is hard to beat, and the capability it gives you, I think it's a great product. So they told me like, hey, SWR, which is Silencer Co. Weapon Research, is going to be based in Texas, and a small team of kind of like Skunk Works for advanced projects. They were telling me, and I talked to Josh Waldron about it a little bit at the party, and he said that they want to do, just basically broaden their product line the outside of suppressors, which makes sense to me. You see Magpul doing it. Like I got a Magpul flannel shirt over there. It's like the nicest flannel shirt I've ever owned in my life. They're not going to ban flannel shirts, you know what I mean? So for a company to diversify their product line and maybe deviate from what they're known for, it's good. It's good for the business, So I'm surprised that they discontinued it because it hasn't been around that long, and I've been seeing more and more Radius rangefinders pop up. I mean, that's kind of like their flagship product for that.
That was the only product that they came out with out of there that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, Adam. But I mean, for a first product, it's a great product. I love the radius. I think it's a great rangefinder.
We have one at the shop. I've never played with one in anywhere but in the store, so I can't speak to it like you can. Wasn't weren't the guys that were at SWR, weren't they the tracking point guys from the original?
I think one or two of them originally worked for that company, but I mean, I don't know what that has to do with anything.
No, I was just wondering because I think they had incorporated some guys that were doing stuff that was related to that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, I guess, with the SWR product line and if it continues on or not.
Stockholders approved Smith & Wesson name change. So Smith & Wesson, this is for the holding company, not
Thank
Smith
you.
Wesson themselves. So the holding company is changing to American Outdoor Brands Corporation.
So if Smith & Wesson isn't losing their name, then why does this keep popping up in the news? Why is this important to me? That's what I don't understand. We talked about this once before. So who cares?
Because people word article titles that make people
Clickbait.
oh my God, Smith & Wesson is changing their name.
It's called clickbait, dude. You fell for it. You got.
It's weird how often that clickbait shows up on the show, though, Jake.
Dun,
Hey,
dun, dun.
Hey, I just
devil's
talk.
advocate here.
I just talk here. I don't do anything in the show. Apex moving from California to Arizona. Many Apex from their triggers. So seems
Good
like
for them.
Maybe fleeing California to a much freer state.
Literal smart move on their part.
Well, a good friend of mine, he had to do that. My friend Alan Normandy, who owns Battle Cop, when he retired from the San Francisco police department after 30 years, he immediately moved this company, Battle Cop, from California to Arizona right away because of all the anti-gun legislation in California. So
here's a quote. They say, getting out from under the restrictive and frankly punitive regulatory environment of California allows us to expand our R&D efforts as we continue to bring new products to market, explained Folk. The move is not only good for Apex, but also our employees. This also brings to mind, I saw a clip of Donald Trump. He appointed, I forget the guy's name. He appointed him to the Labor Department. He's the CEO of Hardee's and what's the other Hardee's brand that they do that?
Carl's Jr.
Carl's Jr.
Carl's Jr. And there was a clip of him talking about a little bit about how he reformed, because he turned Hardee's around. He turned Carl's Jr. around. That company was going
the way of Roy Rogers.
Yeah, it was going away quickly, and he turned the whole culture around, the quality around, everything top to bottom, and he seems like a really good guy for a job like that. But he was talking about the regulatory, just the insane regulatory conditions of California, where it's easier for them to open a store, a Hardee's in Siberia than it is in California. They can open one quicker and easier in Siberia than they can in California.
People were criticizing that decision, right? They're saying about like business people, like Trump's favoring businessmen and businesswomen that they're just so rich and they've done so well. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, why is that how could you make that into a negative thing, right?
Right.
For you to graduate high school, go to college, gain an education, or maybe you're just a self-starting entrepreneur to raise to the point where you're in charge of multi-billion dollar corporations. You know what that says to me? That says you're probably the smartest guy in the room here. You're probably the best guy for the job. Like, look at it like this. Our president that's sitting in the Oval Office right now was a community organizer and like a senator or something. I don't even know. Like, I didn't even heard of Barack Obama until the election, right? But the thing is that the guy's never done a single thing in his life that's involved actual like liability. When you're a CEO of a corporation and you're in charge of, say, just 100 employees, like their livelihood is in your hands, and your shareholders and your investors or whatever it might be, they're leaning on you to be successful. There's a lot of pressure there. And most people, I'm not going to lie, buckle under that pressure. So for somebody that be a career politician who's never been in a position of making money in organization, and most importantly, leadership, that word leadership that nobody knows. Like I look at like these people, business people, they go to leadership seminars. When's the last time you heard of a congressman going to a leadership seminar? You know what I mean?
It's funny that you brought this up today, Nate, because I was actually having a similar discussion today with my friend Lori in the car when we were driving over to F3 Tactical to visit Jimmy, and we were talking specifically about the fact exactly what you're bringing up, these military generals and these really highly successful business people. And now here's the thing, a lot of those politicians, if you actually go and look at their resumes, they had political science degrees, and then they went and either got like journalism or masters in poli-sci and stuff like that. Like you said, that's it. And then they went on into politics, and that's all. They have no people skills. They have no kind of organizational management, strategy, you know, all of these things that these successful business people have. And like you said, I don't know how they could put a negative spin on that.
That's probably what it is right there, Baraka. All these like poli-sci majors in college who get made fun of by engineering students, they're like getting teased for 4 years and like, I'll show you guys someday I'll raise your taxes.
That's true, dude.
I'll show you. Not inviting me to the frat parties.
Take it from me, who's been doing engineering for the last 17 years, brother. There's something to be said about thinking outside the box, as we engineers say. It's taking a different approach, you know?
It's like, you know, like, I'm not saying just, it's like, obviously as a Marine, I like Marines, but there's a lot of scumbag Marines out there too. Just like there's a lot of scumbag soldiers and airmen, and sailors and everything else. But what I'm saying is, like, for me, when I was a Marine, if I wanted to go up in rank, guess what I had to do? I had to attend formal leadership training, right? I had to go do like corporal's course and their sergeant's course and advanced squad leaders course and scout sniper like leaders course. Like there's so many courses that emphasize leadership, strategy, tactics, planning, right? All these key elements that you need to succeed on the battlefield. But guess what those things have in common with the civilian world? Those are the same things you need to be successful in government, the same things you need to be successful in the corporate world. If you want to run a business, sail a ship, or lead a country, you have to have a basic understanding of these things.
It's so funny that you're saying this, Nate, because I think I shared this with you. One of the most embedded lessons that I learned in my life at 17 years old was from a Marine recruiter, Gunny Garcia. And that gunnery sergeant told me, he said, Barack, if you ever want to be successful in this world, you have to learn how to follow first and be taught how to lead. You have to be a follower, but to learn how to lead and be educated in that fact. And there's a lot of truth to what you're saying, man.
And that's why, like, lieutenants, when lieutenants go through officer candidate school, they get treated like privates. They do the job of a private so that they understand how to utilize their men once they get out, you know, in the fleet or in the army, out to their unit. So, like, they understand the perspective of the guy on the bottom rung or at the bottom of the totem pole or whatever you want to say. But what I'm saying is, like, that's leadership. So I don't know how else you can fast track leadership like the military. So why would you scoff at that when you want to give that job to a military guy? Or why would you scoff at that when you would want to give that job to somebody who's obviously been very successful in the corporate world as a business person?
I agree.
No, I want another community organizer who's never led anything. They organized a parade once. Let's get him in the office. That makes sense.
But what you're saying is, I just want to add one more thing before we move on. Like when I first became a management trainee, before I first took my first management position, they sent us to so many management classes on how to manage business, how to manage people, how to manage expectations, how to do profit and loss statements. I mean, it is such a huge ball of wax when you become a manager on how to set expectations, how to run a business, and how to do these things. And that's exactly what we need in government, not just politicians who know how to, they're not that qualified, except, like I said, nothing against you guys out there studying for political science, but you can't compare, I'm sorry, not to business people and high ranking.
Political science should be a liberal arts degree.
Isn't it?
Is it? I don't know.
I think it is, actually. I think it's a BA, yeah.
No, it's not the same as getting a degree in like pottery or basket weaving.
I'm pretty sure it's a Bachelor of Arts. I'm telling you.
My pottery degree is very important.
Horticulturists are important.
I guarantee there's a college, probably Berkeley, that you could get a degree in pottery.
Polar cultures lives matter. Okay, let's get it
Yeah. Probably get a degree at Berkeley for making friends with the grass.
right.
Andre Puzder was nominated to the head of Department of Labor. You know, everything that you said, Braca, about, you know, all the training, all the experience that you have to learn. You know, this nomination takes that one step further. You know, this guy, he was a lawyer and everything. He was executive to general counsel for Fidelity Investments and stuff like that. But, you know, then take that one step further. He became CEO of CKE Restaurants and turned around Hardee's and everything. And to turn around a giant corporation like that, you know, it's no easy task. I mean,
Well, I mean, to be fair, if you put Sarah Underwood in your commercials, your company probably is going to turn around a
but
little
that
bit.
was his call. That was his.
Okay, well,
one
let
of
me
the
shed-
things he did.
Let me shed some insight on that for you from one of my own experiences. So, when I was managing a rental car company back in 1996, I had 38 employees and 3 offices. And the general manager of the car dealership that I worked for, we had the second largest fleet of Fords in the United States, second only to Provo, Utah. And the general manager, who now owns Country Chevrolet, his name is Andy Budd. He came to me and with the CFO of the company, Mike Andrus. Mike Andrus gave me the P&L, which is the profit and loss statement. Andy Budd said, "You guys you're taking over a deficit of $26,000. You guys are in the red." He said, "These are the places. You have 3 places to make yourself get in the black. You have to sell additional CDW, collision damage waiver. You have to upgrade people on rental cars. There's not a lot of markup in rental cars to do this." So we sat down, we made a plan, and in 6 months we were $35,000 in the black. So, but again, it was a management team of me, my general manager, and the CFO sitting down together. These guys all have advanced degrees. I'm just a high school dropout with a high IQ. And we sat and we've turned around this company in 6 months. So I'm saying there's a lot to be said to what you're saying about the Hardee's thing. It takes, people who know what they're doing to sit there and pick things apart, know where you can give and where you can get more out of your business, where to squeeze more dollars out, and how to motivate your employees to do better. So
incompetent, unintelligent, and selfish people do not succeed at those goals. Those are usually very good people that succeed. You have to have those traits to be able to get to that point. That's why I'm saying, so why criticize somebody for being good at being a military leader or being a corporate executive or whatever it might be if they have that track record of proven results to show?
I agree. It doesn't make sense.
You don't agree with them. It's really what it boils down to.
No, I look at it as like everybody looking at anybody that's a successful capitalist in this country being part of that evil 1%.
Stealth Gear USA. Speaking of the evil 1%, we're trying to sell some products here. Stealth Gear USA.
Capitalism.
USA. Capitalism rocks. Stealth Gear SG Revolution line has been released. Release new models every day over at stealthgearusa.com. These are lightweight, breathable, polymer type, slim polymer type backing. Very slim. You can see the side view there.
Is it like a squishy polymer? Is there any like softness to it, or?
No, it's not really squishy at all. Like I'm squeezing it. It's firm but yet flexible. So
like in my pants.
Hold it in place and not be uncomfortable. Check it out. Hand built in America. Every Stealth Gear USA is custom molded to your exact firearm. They also have pretty cool combos you can do.
Oh, nice.
You have a magazine flashlight combo for your carrier setup. And then they also have their classic line, their breathable, almost athletic material on the inside here. So they have an awesome 45-day, no questions asked guarantee, tons of selection. If you have a firearm, they probably have a holster for you. Just head on over to Stealth Gear USA.
Well, Jake, I have to say that innovation is ingenious on Stealth Gear USA's part of making it breathable, because what's the biggest complaint when people have those, either rubber, plastic, or leather, is they're always flat pieces, and they come out and they drench you and they sweat and stick to your skin. I mean, that's very innovative of them to put that porous material on there like that.
I would like to remind everybody that carrying a gun every day is supposed to be comforting, not comfortable.
There we go. Someone had to say it.
However, you can mitigate your comfort to, because there's a lot of people, I'm not gonna lie, like they don't carry a gun every day because it's not comfortable.
You're right. It's
So
true.
you buy a holster that is legitimately more comfortable than some other designs out there. It's going to encourage you to carry every day, because like nobody's got that crystal ball to let you know what day that bad guy is going to come at. You know, you don't know. So the day that you need your gun is guaranteed is going to be the day that you don't have it with you. So the only way to set yourself up for success is to make sure you have your gun every single day, and you do that. If your holster isn't comfortable, then I would recommend looking into. I'm impressed with these designs, especially the breathability.
Well, and that's a great thing about stealth gear is that they have that 45-day no questions asked guarantee. So if you get one and you're like, oh, actually, I think I want to try out that appendix carry one instead, you can do that.
That's awesome.
Check out Stealth Gear USA. You can use promo code TWIG for 10% off your order. So TWIG, TWIG, for 10% off your order at stealthgearusa.com. Long range rifle coming to Three Gun Nation. Some of you may have seen Three Gun Nation TV show. Some of you may have seen the competition they hold out in the desert during SHOT Show.
Yeah, Nate would slay this competition.
Negative.
Dude, you're too humble. Whatever.
I'm a terrible shot.
Long distance? Long distance? No, you're not.
Look, I have infinitely more rounds through an M4 carbine than I do an M40 sniper rifle. So
what happened at the competition you shot over here in Southern Virginia?
I won.
Okay, then. And
but it has nothing to do with accuracy.
What was that?
It has everything to do with me being a winner, Baraka.
What was that? I just want to know the distances then. That's all. Just tell me the distances.
Oh, your competition?
No, that competition. What was the distance?
Because your competition, well,
I'm not talking about
25 yards with a pistol. That's like nothing.
That you won with the rifle. They'll try to skate out of this. Which one that you shot out of that tower and you won that rifle with? What?
All right, maybe it was 700 yards with a 5.56. With a 5.56. But...
All right, there you go, Mr. Humility. That's all I want to know.
So
anyway,
they're combining speed and dynamic movement of the three gun style shooting with the precision and accuracy of the long range rifle.
That's
matches.
awesome.
So I think this is really cool because I like marksmanship in all forms and in all ways, right? So I'm a huge advocate of any shooting sport that makes you a better shooter, which is the majority of them. But it seems like the precision long range stuff right now, like in the last couple of years, it started to become more of a thing. And I look at it like this: like you can go, like you want to get better with your AR-15. Like that's volume of fire, dry fire training, formal training with good companies. That's how you get better with a carbine, right? But that's a lot of money in ammo because of the quantity of ammo. With like match grade, match grade ammo is not as, it's more expensive. It's just more expensive than ball ammo. So it's kind of like the same expense that you would spend on a carbine, just in a different way. And once you get your setup, you get your rifle, your optic, your spotting scope, and all that stuff, then you're kind of set. And then now almost everybody gets into reloading at that point. But it's its own niche thing that I think is really cool, and I'm happy to see it growing. So I think it's cool that this is going to be added to Three Gun Nation because there's more and more people getting interested in long range shooting. I think it was a natural progression. It's like once you kind of get solid with pistol, carbine, shotgun, like what's next to learn? What's a new thing to get into? And for a lot of other people, like especially the guys that live out west, where like I have to drive 2 hours to go to my closest 1,000 yard range. Well, you go out to Montana, that's like your backyard. You know what I mean? So I think it's cool. I mean, it's neat. As a shooter, I think it's neat. And, as somebody that makes rifle scope mounts and optics accessories, I'm happy about that because it hopefully is going to equate to me selling more scope mounts. So
and to add on to what Nate said, my good friend of mine, Chris Golden, he was actually here at the shoot. Nate, that day. Chris is a sponsored three gun shooter, and he was telling me with their regular ARs, and usually they use like 77 grain match grade bowtail hollow points. They usually shoot anywhere out from 100 yards to 300 to 400 yards, and a regular three gun shooting with their AR. So, like Nate was saying, it is just a natural progression for them to push out further, give them more challenge.
says they're gonna go out to 800 yards on some of
Wow.
these matches. So
That's awesome.
that's far. I mean, that's a long ways out.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm happy that it's going to be like, I'm not going to say limited to 800 yards, but 800 yards is still achievable with a stock AR-15. Well, maybe it's a stretch for an AR-15, but an AR-10, like you don't need a $5,000 sniper rifle to hit at 800 yards on a man-sized target. So by keeping it at 800 yards, like I like the 3-gun matches where it's kind of like run what you brung. Like if this is your setup, you can still have a fighting chance. You know, you still might place. And I've seen some guys at different 3-gun matches, IPSC and IDPA and that kind of stuff matches, guys with bone stock guns just dominate the guys with the cool guy toys because they're just better shooters. So if they're limited to 800 yards, yeah, that is a good distance, but that's pretty much the max effective range of most semi-automatic 308s. And if you have a off-the-shelf 308 Remington bolt action 700, for example, you can hit at 800 yards on a man-sized target. With like, you put a decent scope on it, you don't have to bet it. You don't have to get all this high-speed stuff. You can still compete. So I like that they're making it where the everyman can actually still participate in this.
Venezuela AK-103 factory will start working in 2019. We have some AKs rolling out of Venezuela.
That's interesting. I wonder what their QC aspect is going to be on those.
Pretty interesting. They're going to be manufacturing some sniper rifles too. Some how do you even say that? Tumbo.
Kantamo. Well, hopefully they fare better than Taurus. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to screw up an AK, but people somehow still manage to do so.
Wait, isn't Venezuela where like people can't even find food to eat right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but if you have an
rioting in the
AK-47, it's not a problem anymore. You
go.
can find all the food you need.
You can eat people.
That's horrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible.
Mortality rate study points to epidemic of gun suicides as one cause.
That's such a lie. These people skew and lie and slander, man. I tell you what, dude.
Well, and the other strange thing about this is it's titled "Why Are So Many Americans Dying Young?" They're saying that the life expectancy is actually decreasing slightly.
So this article is on the Atlantic, which is just about as liberal as the Huffington Post.
Oh yeah.
So like, all right. So the title of this article is "Why Are So Many Americans Dying Young?" Like, I want to go back and write the same article with the same title, but actually explain why so many Americans are dying young. It's like a big part of it is just giving people a reason to live, like hope for a future. And the culture we live in, you know, if somebody makes up their mind that's going to commit suicide, and bear in mind, I'm somebody that's lost a lot of friends to suicide. They're going to find a way. And now they say that, you know, men have a higher success rate in suicide than women. So a part of that is men are more likely to own firearms and have access to firearms. So what I'm saying is, like, they always take the suicides by firearm and they lump it in with like death by gun, and they use it for their statistical.
The only
like, hey,
the only part in this article that has the word gun, I just searched for the word gun, it says many Western states are still struggling with an epidemic of gun suicides. That's it.
You know,
That's the only mention of gun in the entire article.
the thing is, like, the epidemic, right? Like we have more people on various pills today than ever before in human history. You have people that are dissatisfied with their lives, like civil union, right? Like marriages. Like everybody I know that's been married since I left high school, most of them are on their second or third marriages. Like nobody sticks things out anymore. Like our society, our environment is the cause for a lot of this. I firmly believe this as far as civilian suicides go, not counting like PTSD related suicides on the military side. But I'm looking at it, it's like you go read Fight Club and you see why Tyler Durden raised an army. Is a bunch of disenchanted people that they don't have a place in history. It's a bunch of people that, like, our society today, it's like, what do I get behind? you're condemned for one thing or the other. It's hard to be a true believer in anything and have a happy life. I don't know. I don't mean to get on a soapbox about like that kind of stuff, but I think it has a lot to do with suicide as a whole. And if somebody makes up their mind that they don't want to be a part of this world anymore, they're going to find a way with or without a firearm.
You know, it's funny. We were talking about that today too. Suicide, me and one of my friends, and I just feel like suicide is the most selfish thing that a person can do to the people that are left behind, or the people who suffer. That's the only reason I say that. And it's always like they say. I know it sounds so cliche, but it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. But when you're wrapped up in that problem, and the problem seems like your world's coming to an end, unless you have that voice of reason there, a lot of times people can't be pulled back from it, and they take such immediate action that. You know, I've had a lot of friends commit suicide, and you know, I've always been angry at those people for doing that. But you're right, it's what you just said, Nate. A lot of the times it's because the people are lonely, or they don't feel like they belong somewhere. They don't have a sense of purpose. And once you take a sense of purpose away from any person, what do they have to live for? You know?
Yeah, but do you remember like the old days? Like we have social media now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I went like a month without talking to somebody, like odds are somebody would call me or stop by my house and check up on me and stuff, right? But now like, oh, I saw him on Instagram earlier, so obviously he's doing well. Or I saw him on Twitter, I saw him on Facebook, whatever it might be. Like social media has replaced actual human interaction. Remember back in the old days where if you haven't heard from somebody, you actually had to pick up a phone? Those days are done. So
well,
we live in a world.
Nate,
I'm saying is, hold on, let me finish this point.
Okay.
We live in a world where you can be as isolated as you possibly can be, and it's easier to get away with it now than it was 20 years ago.
Okay.
And I contribute that partially to social media. So what I'm saying is that if you dig yourself into a hole, and I agree with you, Baraka, like suicide is one of the most selfish things a person can do. But usually the person that's in that state of mind, they're looking at like, I'm a burden to my friends. I'm a burden to my family. I'm a worthless individual.
I have no friends.
They're a defeated. They're a defeated person that feels like they're at rock bottom, and they feel like they're doing everybody a favor by removing their presence from the earth. That's such an amazingly terrible low to get to. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been there myself. Like, I've been in that mindset before, right? But the thing is, I'm fortunate enough and lucky enough to have a lot of good people in my life to check up on me and keep me engaged. And I mean, my phone rings all day long. I get 20 million texts an hour. It's just like, I don't have time to dwell on the negativity in my life because how engaged I am with all the people that I care about. And that's the biggest thing. That's probably the most important thing, is just engaging the people that you love. It doesn't matter if it's a family member or a friend. That's how you keep them from ever getting to that point to even consider it.
But it's also the exact. So you were saying, I have the counterpoint to what you were saying. I don't know if you recall 2 years ago when you took a little break away from social media, and I picked up and I called you and asked you how you were doing because I was concerned. I hadn't seen you online for a while. I don't know if you remember when I made that call.
Yeah, and that, you know, that goes past your man crush for me. That goes that just goes into you being a good friend, Baraka. Like, yeah, like I got so disgusted with social media, I did take a break. And that's the thing, is like, that's a change, it's a deviation in my baseline, and you picked up on it. And not everybody does that. But if you do see something like that, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't cost anything for you. I'm not trying to make this into a suicide awareness piece of the show, Jake, but this is something really important to me, something that matters to me, because of, like, you know, Braga said, like, everybody here, and I can almost 100% guarantee anybody listening to the show has lost somebody to suicide. So I mean, I know this is like the article, the premise is a little bit different than what we're talking about, but this is such an important thing, and we live in such a weird time in human history that I don't want to lose another person I love. I don't want anybody here to lose somebody that they love to suicide when it was avoidable.
Neither do I, brother. Amen.
Chicago Appeals Court says Facebook photos admissible in gun runners trial.
Well, I thought that the rules with law enforcement, is that I know they locked up that one kid who was on social media like an idiot. He was on probation and he was at a gun range and he was taking pictures posing with his guns. And it was for a gun-related crime that he was specifically told to stay away from all firearms. So from what I understand, all of that stuff is admissible, whether it's on social media or not. There was also a video of a guy who was in a Ferrari and he was driving like 171 miles per hour and it's counting at night, turning the lights off. And the cops went out there and they got him because they were like, well, we have evidence here. You showed the speedometer that you were going 171 miles per hour. And yeah, so there you go, dude. Now you know.
So this guy was buying guns at Indiana gun shows and then bringing them back to Chicago and looking like he was selling them on the street, or at least to people with gang ties. He may have not been directly selling them on the street. Here's his quote saying how he was just a gun enthusiast, simply adding to his collection. His quote here is, "I spent the majority of my time selling weed, going to school, and working at Home Depot."
Oh Lord, he was a good boy. He just needed a chance.
I'm gonna guess it just had to do with proving who posted the pictures, but it looks like at the bottom of the article there they say that there's no doubt because some of the same pictures were found on his phone.
Well, that makes sense. Indisputable, dude.
Deputy sheriff shot and killed at home in tragic accident. Investigators say.
This is like the shortest article. It doesn't say what the accident was or any information whatsoever about how it occurred. But I mean, it sucks because the dude had a wife and 2 kids. So
yeah, it's tragic regardless of what it was.
There's not a whole lot to go off on.
Does it click through on the bottom? I think it's like a teaser article that.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so here's the problem I already have with this, okay? Without even reading too far into it, I'm so sick and tired of irresponsible media saying accidental shooting. There is negligent shooting and there's on purpose shooting. That's it. There's no such thing as accidental. There's negligence every time. And regardless of how whoever lost their life, God bless them and may God rest their soul in peace, but there's negligence, and that happens from education, where we're constantly preaching. If you're properly educated on gun safety and you follow the rules of gun safety, guess what? There's no negligence that can occur, and therefore a life will not be lost. And I'm sick and tired of people losing their lives from being negligent. It makes me furious.
Yeah, it does seem negligent here. It says accidental discharge of firearm, which a bullet went through a wall, striking Campbell, which is the officer that died here. So yeah, it doesn't article
completely avoidable because education begins at home. You teach the people in your house who are around your firearms how to use them safely. You teach them the rules of gun safety, and they're not negligent. And
I was swapping stories around here, and I swapped the wrong one. The one I meant to leave in there was Texas man charged with killing his friend, said he thought the gun was empty. I think this is the same one that was like streamed on Facebook Live. It was like a dinner party where so someone not even the owner, not even the homeowner that owned the gun, so one of his guests went and like found his gun and brought it out, was like waving it around. He's like, "Oh no, wait, that's loaded," and he took the magazine out. He's like, "There, now you're good." And so they're pointing it at people. They're like pointing it at themselves. They're just being complete morons. And it turns out there was a round still in the chamber, and he shot his friend and killed him.
That's exactly what happened. It's just what you described. He was putting the gun in his mouth, pointing it like he was at the roof of, and again, if you follow the rules, the basic rules of firearm safety, do not point a gun at anything that you're not intending to destroy. Keep your finger off the trigger unless it's on target. You know, if you follow these simple rules, don't.
But Baraka, there's just so many rules for firearm safety. How can I remember all of them?
And that story brings up proper storage too, because you just have his gun lying on his nightstand or something.
Well, they were all drinking, Jake. They were drinking and they were playing with a gun. Those two things don't mix. Don't fire at your target and know your target and what's beyond it. I mean, these rules, if you just follow them, I constantly teach the NRA first steps program out of my house, which is basic safety. I stay in my lane. That's the only thing I do with my NRA certificate of instruction. And I've been doing that for years. I probably taught at least 100 people this year. And after that, I send them on to John Murphy, Steve
Baraka,
Fisher
it's that
for more
solid
advanced training.
the solid foundation of observing the four, arguably five, very simple firearm safety rules is how you avoid tragedy.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying is like
it makes me sick. That's why it makes me so furious, because all these lives, just like suicide is selfish, this negligence is just as selfish.
But let's look at this. Like I read the first article. I didn't realize there's another link you had to follow to go to another thing, right? But the dude was shot. All right, so this officer was shot in the other room. Like a bullet went through the wall. He lives with his wife and his two sons. Okay, so I don't think his wife, after being married to him for so many years and having two children with him, would mess with his gun. So I hate to say it, but odds are it's going to be probably one of the reasons why this article is so obscure is probably one of his sons tragically killed their own father.
One of the comments on the YouTube is that his son accidentally discharged the firearm. The round went through the wall.
But that's why I mean, like, education starts in the home. Nate, next time you come over, brother, ask my 8-year-old daughter what's the rules of gun safety. She will tell you all of them.
Your entire family is locked on that way. I understand that, but what I'm saying is, Brock, that like not everybody is like. You would think that like, hey, you know, my dad's a cop, and dad's taking me to the range, and dad's told me never touch his gun. That doesn't change one moment of a child making a mistake, and now you just killed your own dad. Can you imagine how traumatic that must be to kill your own father? I mean, like, people have done that in lots of ways outside of firearms. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, why? I don't understand why this article is so obscure. I guarantee what they're trying to do is give the family a little bit of, you know, like help them with their, you know, it's a terrible story. You know, they're trying to take care of the family in this.
I understand.
Tragedy. It was an avoidable tragedy. I'm not arguing that, but
I'm just mad because, like I said, I wish people would understand that if they want to bring a firearm to their home, regardless if it's their occupation or whatever, take the time necessary to sit down and educate your family. That's all I'm asking. It doesn't take long. You can Google it. Everyone has a phone. Look up the rules of firearm safety. Explain to them. If not, find someone local who can teach it to you. That's all I'm begging, is for people to go out and get educated, because education is how you learn proper safety, and safety drives the train. I mean,
if you follow those rules, those very simple rules, it is physically impossible to kill someone.
I agree, brother. Amen.
Well, I'm offended. I'm not necessarily offended. Somebody here is offended, though. We're to the I'm offended section. Ohio State attacker added to the list of people wrongfully killed by police.
Oh, so I can drive a car into a mass of people trying to use my 2-ton steel missile as a weapon, and then proceed to get out of said vehicle and start stabbing them with a knife.
I know this,
but that would be wrongfully killed by police.
It's so sickening. So sickening.
Police are supposed to stop them with hugs and kisses. I mean,
well, that works in California, but for the rest of reality, it doesn't.
And I love how they leave the fact that the matter of all the things that they found of this guy being radicalized and the stuff he was reading and stuff, because in that radicalized thing there was a flyer sent out by ISIS that you can just find on Google. It comes out every month, and it said specifically to attack people with your vehicles and then to use a knife. Exactly what he did, verbatim, just like the guy that drove the vehicle into the police officers that were standing out in front of the 7-Eleven. It is exact what they put out there.
Hey, can somebody Google how many people from Somalia have won a Nobel Peace Prize and put that in the comments for me? Because I'm willing to bet it's not that many. So what I'm saying is, like, yeah, the guy was a Somali. He was radicalized. He had hate in his heart, and he had the will to see it through.
That's right.
He utilized the weapon of his choice. I don't know.
Which just happened to be directed by ISIS online in a flyer that says, go out and use your vehicle and get any knife. And they specify, make sure it's long and wide enough. I mean, it's really sick, dude. I mean, it's really sick.
All right. Second I'm offended story is entire police department quits. City council to blame.
I read this one earlier in the week. Like, they completely threw the city council under the bus, and it is glorious.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful.
So, it's a smaller town, smaller police force, whatever, right? And apparently like certain city council people asked other like the police to do background checks on their competition and their rivals and all kinds of illegal and unethical things.
Yep.
And they're like, no, we're not going to do that. No, that's not what we're here for. And then the worst part of this is apparently they're not funding them for body armor. So like there's like one ballistic vest that they share amongst themselves for like doing like raids. I'm willing to bet that this is probably like a level 4 vest, like a vest that stops rifle rounds. So if you're going to go serve a warrant, you don't know what you're walking into. If you're going to run into a rifle in the street, it's probably going to be a rifle in somebody's house. So the idea, like the concept of them not financing them getting body armor to go do this very inherently dangerous job is insane. But anyway, they're scrambling. Like this town does not have a police force as of today. Like there's none. Like I hate to say it, but people can do whatever they want right now with impunity. Like there's no fear of a cop stopping you.
Well,
and I'm willing to bet also, I might be wrong about this, but I'm willing to bet that those guys probably talk to their buddies in surrounding areas and are like, hey, dude, the situation is messed up. So I want to be surprised if they have trouble finding replacements.
Well, my hat's off to them for their solidarity and standing up for what's right. So good for them. Kudos.
Yeah, and someone says there's 0 Nobel Peace Prize winners from Somalia.
Well, when you run
Shocker.
people over with a car,
Thank you, Chris.
Shocker. Shocker.
Okay, so Overflow. Way too many stories to cover this week. You check out the Overflow stories at firearmsradio.tv. Click This Week in Guns. That's where the show notes are. You can also pledge your support over there at firearmsradio.tv/pledge. Amazon, you can contribute to the Firearms Radio Network and This Week in Guns by shopping our Amazon affiliate link. Just click the banners on firearmsradio.tv, or you can bookmark firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. We're to the full auto news segment, stories the real media won't talk about, and other crazy stuff. Each of the hosts picks a story here to call their own. While you guys are picking your stories, I want everyone else to go over to JWB Military and Brass. That's home of jwbmilitary.com, where they have awesome AR-500 steel targets. They have little tiny budget steel targets all the way up to the giant steel gongs that you can put down on your range. Really nice CNC cut steel. You can choose 3/8 thickness or 1/2 inch thickness. Lasts a long time on your range. Really fun to shoot. Also, reloading brass, fully processed brass that has been deprimed, resized. Primer pocket has been swaged. Cases have been trimmed. They've been wet tumbled to a golden shine. So they're ready to load. jwbmilitary.com. Check it out.
I got a story. I'm ready to rock and roll. So, former WWE wrestler body slams gunman at Florida gas station. This is freaking awesome. So, Shad Gaspard, 35, stopped to get a drink Saturday in Coral Springs, Florida, after a show. Police said 35-year-old Jason Felix was upset that Gaspard wouldn't buy him a beer. And then Felix showed him a gun. He brandished a gun on his waistband. He lifts up his shirt, reaches for the gun, and he puts the gun and says, "Get out of here, man, because I'm about to rob the place." And then the wrestler took over, picked the guy up, slammed the crap out of him on the ground. He squeezed the gun so hard it broke, and he realized it was an airsoft gun.
He's just lucky there wasn't a folding metal chair within reach. Is all I got.
But well done, and kudos to him for taking immediate action and physically overpowering the guy and slamming the crap out of him, because if it had been a real gun, he would have saved the day. But turned out to be an airsoft pistol, so... But regardless, his intention was awesome.
I don't understand these people that like brandish airsoft guns. Like it's always bad guys, right? But they brandish airsoft guns like they're real guns. They commit crimes with them, right? Like they point them at people.
Yep.
And I'm like, what happens if somebody shows up with a real gun? While you're like, you're bad guys.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, it is.
Like here's the thing: is like if you're a bad guy, right? Like legit, like I'm gonna be a criminal today. I'm gonna do bad guy stuff. I'm like, what would I do? I'm like, the first thing I'm gonna do, before I even get a gun is I'm gonna get body armor because the danger of my occupation, right? And then the second thing is I'm like, oh man, no, I'm sure airsoft gun it'll be just as good. No, I would get a real gun. So it's like when these people get like shot or jacked up, like I don't want to buy was the guy UFC? What was it? What was the
WWE.
All right, so that was his federation.
Yep.
Whatever. It's like, like why over an airsoft gun? It's so stupid.
Yep. That was not smart.
The thing is, like, people nowadays, they don't think you're going to get punched in the face, right? The things that people say and do, they're like, oh, nobody punches anybody in the face anymore. But back in the old days, when
All the
people got
time.
punched in the face for the things they said and did, I think people were a little bit more polite. And now that that's left our culture, I think that's why people think it's okay to try stuff like brandishing an airsoft gun to intimidate somebody else. And that
Well-
dude called that guy's bluff.
So go back to your reference of Fight Club earlier. Do you remember in the movie when he said start a fight and they literally had to chase people down because he tried to start fights with people and they would run away? Do you remember, Nate?
That was a book written like 20 years ago, too. That's the sad thing. It's only gotten weaker since then. But
Mhm.
anyway, that's pretty cool. Good guy wins.
Yes, indeed. Awesome.
All right, Adam, what do you got?
I've got the woman attacked for using coupons because it's just so exciting. So
Coupons.
this woman decided that she was going to do the fiscally responsible thing and try and spend as little money as possible in Kroger. And apparently, in today's day and age, nobody has time for that. So a customer started yelling at her that it was taking too long, and after a little bit of back and forth, apparently got physical, where he grabbed her by the hair, pulled her back, smashed her into her cart, knocked her out. When she came to, she was on the ground and her leg was under the cart. The gentleman apparently fled the scene, and Kroger called the police, but they have not yet. I don't believe they've caught this gentleman yet, this perpetrator. So, yeah, I don't know. Don't use coupons. Stop holding up the line.
It's like road raging in the line, dude. I mean,
Apparently.
it's-
Grocery store road rage. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Nate, what do you got?
I want to talk about the video of 4-year-old nailing target at range goes viral. Because I've actually met this little girl. Her name's Noah. And I met her at the Special Forces Convention in
Cool.
Tampa this past spring. So Noah is the daughter of Buck Holly and Megan Holly, which are two really great people in the gun industry. I know Megan a lot better than I know Buck, but I've known Buck for several years now, very informally. He runs a gun company called C&H Precision Arms, right?
Mhm.
And C&H, they make really, really nice sniper rifles. Buck hired a guy who was a former 2112. The guy was like a master sergeant or something, career gunsmith. Like the guys that build M40 sniper rifles for Marine Corps Scout snipers, that's who this guy was. So anyway, moral of the story is that they're one of the most patriotic families I've ever met. They make their money off the gun industry, both mom and dad, and they're some of the most responsible people I've ever met with that you could possibly ask to teach their children how to shoot. So anyway, Noah's 4 years old, and there's a video of Buck having his daughter shoot one of his rifles, undoubtedly one of the rifles that he built with his own hands. The girl's in control of the weapon, and anyway, people went like just nuts over this video because just like it's a big scary sniper rifle, and it's a little 4-year-old cute blonde chick shooting this gun and hitting a target at distance. And I was surprised. I saw this video and I'm like, oh, I know these people. They're good people. I'm like, oh my God, that's Noah, right? It's so cool. For me, it's like the neatest thing ever. But the video went viral and like the Guardian posted it and it's like all over Europe and the world now. And it's funny to see this mixed review of what people think about this little 4-year-old girl shooting this rifle. And it's not like they're putting a 4-year-old on like a M82 Barrett or anything. It's just a bolt action rifle that looks different than daddy's hunting rifle. You know what I mean? But it's interesting because I read some of the comments, and every time I saw it like linked somewhere, particularly on like some of the more liberal news media sites, I would go read the comments to see what people were saying. And it was like, a good mix, and well, not a good mix because there's a lot of people who don't know anything about guns that were commenting on the negative, but I saw a lot of good gun supporters explaining to the critics why this is a bad thing, and it ties in exactly with what Baraka said, which is you can go to the James household, and everybody in that household knows if they find a firearm that's laying unattended, what do the girls do, James Baraka?
They automatically do not touch it, and they know better to touch it. They know that if it's pointed at them to go away. They know if they find a firearm, period, to go and tell an adult, and they know all the rules of gun safety. If someone else is handling the gun, they know to another child to get out of there, to never touch it. I mean, but they know and can recite the rules of gun safety. So,
and I think the majority, like, I don't have children. I have Atlas. You know, I have a 100-pound German Shepherd that doesn't have opposable thumbs, so I can't teach him how to shoot. But the majority of people I know that are Second Amendment supporters, gun owners, people listening to the show, they teach the exact same thing to their children. That program that Eddie the Eagle from the NRA teaches, that schools don't let the program come in, right? So what I'm saying is, like, I think I shot my first rifle when I was 4 years old. You know, and it's like, it's part of the American tradition. It's part of your responsibility as a parent or a guardian or a big brother or whatever it might be, a cool uncle, to teach your children the right way. And that's exactly what you see in this video. To me, it's a precious memory of the Holly family. And it was just so strange. It was so bizarre to see so many people criticize it when there's absolutely not a single thing wrong with this.
I showed it to my 8-year-old daughter. I bought her first gun, a Ruger 1022, when she was 7, and this girl is much younger than her, and she was proud to watch it. She was like, "That's awesome, Daddy. I want to try to shoot really a bigger gun." Yeah, she was really happy.
All right, yeah, I'm going to go with a look in the past here. Look at what was dropped behind German lines in occupied France in World War II. And some photos with this article that shows some of the different guns that were dropped, some of the different gadgets and stuff, which is pretty neat. You know, some of the guns were 303 Enfield, a Sten
guns, the Sten guns, Mills grenades, a lot of demo charges, pressure plates. There's a lot of stuff for sabotage. A lot of demolitions for sabotage for the resistance.
Half pounds of TNT. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. This reminded me there's a movie coming out this next summer about Dunkirk and the evacuation of Dunkirk after the Battle of Dunkirk. I think the movie's called Dunkirk.
Yeah, the guy that did was it Nolan? Was it Christopher Nolan?
Yeah.
Which, like, that dude makes phenomenal movies. So I'm actually, like, I'm excited to see his interpretation of a war film. But for those of you that are not history buffs, the Battle of Dunkirk, that was a bloodbath. Essentially, it was like an early loss in the beginning of the war for the Brits, but they literally got chased into the sea by the Germans. That's basically one of the last combat operations in mainland Europe until Normandy. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to evacuate like 400,000 troops. It was incredible.
So the really cool thing about this, I'm not trying to hijack this from you, Jake, but when we splashed,
no, I was hoping you would.
When Normandy beachhead, right? So bear in mind, like, even in the modern military, when guys deploy overseas, like, they're in a combat zone, they still do sustainment training. They still shoot carbines and machine guns and re-zero their guns and medical training. They stay sharp even though they're in the middle of combat, so you're constantly refreshing, right? Well, during June, when Normandy, like when the D-Day occurred, a large amount of German forces were inland, away from the beachheads, doing training. They were doing like summer maneuvers. They were basically doing refresher training, and it was like the perfect time for us at the beachhead. So anyway, what happened was, Second SS Panzer Division was like way far inland. They were like 60, 100 miles inland doing training when Normandy occurred, and they were rushing to the Normandy beachhead to support their troops to fight the Allied invasion. And these guys, the French resistance, used demolitions and weapons like this to delay an entire division from getting to their objective to support the beachhead. So the resistance in World War II actually had a lot to do with the success of our. We had to get that foothold. If we would have lost at Normandy, we would never would have. We would, you know, who knows what would have happened history-wise. But there's a fair chance that the Germans would have occupied and maybe maintained the regime longer. So I like stuff like this because it's like, you know, it's kind of like quasi espionage, but it's definitely a big part of World War II history. So it's neat to see like what they actually sent to the partisans, to the resistance.
And I was reading up a little bit today on Dunkirk, and it's fascinating that the Allies, they lost so much equipment with that retreat. They lost virtually all of their mechanized vehicles. They lost virtually all of their trucks and transports.
They literally abandoned it and got into fishing boats to get across the English Channel. It was like, hey, we can either do this like the right way, or we can live. So it's like, if we stick around and if we literally spend any more time here, they were completely surrounded by like, I think it was like 10 different German divisions. It was like, it was an impossible, unwinnable situation, and it was a race for the sea. I think it's going to be a great movie. I'm really stoked for it, Jake. I agree. I think it looks very captivating for what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got hopes for it. So new way to support the show. You can pledge your support over at firearmsradio.tv/pledge. You can also go over to Patriot Patch, sign up for the Patch of the Month Club before it's too late again. And you can also get the Luke 2236 patch, which is in stock. And don't forget to get the participation trophy patch for your favorite buddy. PatriotPatch.co. So this is the part of the show where we see what these guys are up to and where you can connect online with them. So Nate, what's up? And where can people connect online?
Yeah, like been crazy busy. I just spent the last couple of days out of the office testing a prototype. So things are moving forward with KDG. Probably going to have some new stuff to show at SHOT Show, which is also consuming my time right now, getting spooled up. So for anybody listening, I'm going to say it now. If you're going to go to SHOT Show, make sure you go down to the basement and come check out my booth.
I'll be there.
I don't know the booth number. I'm going to be between the beef jerky and the nunchucks.
Hey, last time you told me to meet you in the basement. That's not how it turned out.
That is true. We will not speak of that now, Jake. But anyway, so like, yeah, just getting spooled up for SHOT Show, which is sneaking up really, really quick. We're like a little bit over 30 days away right now for that. So yeah, staying busy, getting a lot of good work done before the holiday break. So no complaints there. It's like crazy cold here in Pennsylvania, so I'm glad to be done with that. But yeah, if you want to learn more about what Kinetic Development Group does, I recommend that you check out our website, kineticdg.com, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook under Kinetic Development Group. And always, if you want to harass me personally, you can follow me on Instagram under GripStop, which actually some of you guys do, which is pretty cool. And I try really hard to get to your comments quickly, but I don't always get to it the same day. So, but I will respond.
Very cool. Braca, what's up, and where can people connect online?
What's up is Chicken Butt, and where they can connect online is
Grinder. Best place to find Braca is Grinder.
MASF.co. That's masf.co. What's up is so we are currently running a gun raffle fundraiser for our charity, MASF, which is a 501c3 nonprofit charity for education. And we are trying to raise money for it. And currently, if you go to masf.co and you click and you will see gun raffle tab, or scroll down on the right hand side, and we have a awesome Glock that is built out. It's worth like $2,500. Some of the top people in the industry donate to us, and you can have a chance to win it for $10. And so we encourage you to go over there and do that. We have a big announcement coming. There'll be a press release out next week, but my friend Alan Normandy from Battle Comp Enterprises is now sponsoring, becoming an official sponsor for MASF. So we're really stoked about that.
That's really cool, Baraka. That's great.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And we're flying out to. I'm flying out to SHOT Show to talk to a couple of other large organizations that are also interested in furthering education for law-abiding citizens. Because, as some of you may not know, specifically MASF, if you go over and look at our mission statement, our whole thing is to get law-abiding citizens educated. I can tell you that is a passion of mine in life, is to have every American take advantage of that right. But like I said, again, you need, gun ownership is your right, safety education and training is your responsibility as a law-abiding citizen, and education starts in the home. It starts with your children. It starts with educating everyone around you, and the more proficient you go out, the less time that you'll have to worry about any accidents and negligent discharges, no accidents, and you'll be able to defend yourself if needed. That's the most important thing. It's your responsibility to be able to defend yourself. So please go over and check out our website. If you go over to the article section, you can find out some articles I wrote, and my contact information is there. And we just want to say thank you for support. And if you want to donate to our charity, the only things that are tax deductible are money, property, and goods, not services. So, and we will send out a tax deductible receipt at the end of the year for any of you who decide to donate to our charity. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Rocket, you totally undersold that Glock. Like, you guys need to see this thing. Definitely go to the website and check it out, because this is like one of the most sick Glocks you could possibly win.
Thank you.
It's like the best Glock ever. But when does that raffle end?
Ends right after SHOT Show.
So okay, all right, that's good, because I couldn't remember what you said for that. And
thank you, Bill. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys got to check that out. It's a cool gun. What's the URL one more time?
It's masf.co. And if you go there, like I said, and click on the gun raffle tab or scroll down on the right side, you can see it. And it has an S3F barrel. It has slide work done by ATEI. It has an agency trigger and agency magwell donated by Paul Van Dunk from agency. Chris Nagamura and Aiden Cole donated the S3F barrel. Doug Holloway from ATI did the slide work, and then the grip work was done by ISM Weapons, Mark Davis. And then it has extended mag and slide and mag release, as well as Trijicon HD night sights. It comes with two custom holster, an X300 light donated by Big Texas Outdoors. I mean, it's like I said, the whole gun itself is worth like $2,500, and it's
not guaranteed to make you shoot better, but it is guaranteed. It is guaranteed to make you look a hell of a lot more cool. That's for sure. It is a nice Glock.
Thank you.
I hope I win it. I'm not gonna lie,
you, brother. Got to play to win.
That's a gun that you'll want to open carry.
Oh yeah.
Adam, what's up, and where can people connect online?
I don't even know where to begin. I just filed a 92-page brief in support of a motion for summary judgment today. I've got another one. I'm just swamped with work. You can connect with me.
Let me rephrase that. Adam, who are you angry at this week?
The government, particularly ATF, and the sheriff of Monroe County, and yeah. Anyway, so you can connect with me on Instagram, the Adam Kraut, Facebook, Adam Kraut NRA, I think it is. You could just search Adam Kraut for the public figure. Firearms Industry Consulting Group on Facebook, adamkraut.com. That's all I got.
All right, very cool.
And my Instagram is Baraka you, James. Sorry, thank you. Forgot to say that.
Underscore you, James.
Yes, thank you. Underscore.
Is it underscore?
You. Yeah, underscore you, James. Thank
Wait,
you.
I
which
hate
one's the
underscores.
underscore?
I
Is
know,
that the one in the middle or the
The
bottom?
lower one.
Yeah.
Did somebody already take Baraka, you, James, that you had?
Yes, I was so mad about that. Yeah.
You need to go find that guy and be like, nah.
How's that even possible?
You send him a DM.
You got me, dude.
Someone stole your identity, Brock.
They did. They actually did. They did. I was pissed about it.
You can leave your feedback by commenting on the bottom of this YouTube video, or the bottom of the Facebook video. You can watch it live every Thursday night about 9:15 p.m. Central. We go live, and you can leave us an iTunes review. Which remind me, we need to share some iTunes reviews. Some of them are salty. Contribute to the show by using our Amazon affiliate link. And thank you, Nate. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Jake. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Baraka.
It is my pleasure, and I just also want to say hello to two awesome, loyal listeners that are friends of Nate and I, Jim Horn and his awesome wife, Melissa Horn. Thank you for supporting us and always listening in. Your Thursday night tradition. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
I didn't get my Christmas card in the mail, Horn family, so I'm assuming it got lost, but thank you for listening.
Really, we're airing our Christmas card grievances. Thank you, Baraka.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Adam.
Thanks for having me, Jake.
That's a wrap. We'll see you next week.